So hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Turn 5 podcast. It's of course British Grand Prix weekend, so stay tuned for all the action from this weekend. So this year is of course F1's 75th anniversary and the 75th anniversary of the very first Grand Prix that was held here in Silverstone. But for some people, it was the very first Grand Prix. I'm delighted to be joined by one of my good friends, Mr. Stuart Coombs, who, well, sum it up. How was your first Grand Prix experience?
So first experience is quite eye-opening. I've watched F1 casually for years. Actually being here in person is quite the eye-opener. It actually gives you the sense of speed, weight and presence all these cars and drivers have. So it's a massively eye-opening experience, very frankly. So
Yeah, but you never answered the most important question of a first experience.
Yes.
Did you enjoy it?
absolutely, yeah. It's very different. Although obviously Silverstone this year was one of mixed weather, with Friday being very nice, Saturday being worse, and Sunday being one of mixed, obviously quite mixed situation. It was an absolutely wonderful weekend, and I'll probably be back as soon as possible.
Fantastic. Obviously, sat with me and Beckett. What did you think of the view?
Quite a good shot to look from. Nice combination of quite an open sprint down from
Maggots.
down from Cox into Maggots. Through Maggots and Beckett's quite an interesting take. And then watching on the screens as everyone thunders their way down Hanger Straight. Obviously, doing his best. And not quite making it, unfortunately, due to issues. But very, very good space to watch from, with a nice mix of fast and nice technical turns as well.
Finally, would you do it again?
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those things that obviously changes every year because, cars change every year, drivers change every year, skills change, etc., etc. So just back as soon as possible.
Fantastic. And another first for this year was the Lando stand over here in Stowe. We'll see if that comes back next year, but it was a good selling point for them, so they made a lot of money. But yeah, that's everything from the track. So hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Turn 5 podcast. As you've seen from the video moments before, it's probably knew already, it's Silverstone week, where we will be reviewing Formula 1, 2, 3 and 4, because they were all there.
I didn't see any of the Formula 4.
Okay. Did anyone else? Mel, you've got no excuse, you were there.
I didn't know what
It
you're
was
about.
like 9 o'clock in the morning, Chris.
Nah, it was at 5 o'clock in the evening for race 1, it was after qualifying.
Holy smokes.
Remembering it as I was there, but I wasn't there.
I'll talk about Formula 4.
She was there.
And
I
the
don't
rest of us,
remember it.
we'll talk about Formulas 1, 2 and 3.
I don't remember F2 or 3.
Oh, come on, man. We spoke about the F2 and how it was ruined. We'll get onto that.
Yeah.
My running
Formula
joke
1,
is
though.
dead.
We'll start with that, of course. One sentence race review, please, Ben.
Yeah. Best race of last year. Maybe best race of this year.
Mel?
Can you repeat the question?
Race review in one sentence.
Oh,
Formula
sorry,
1.
I stood for a minute thinking that was you said one word.
No, one sentence.
I cried, comma, holy shit balls, comma, slay. Period.
Okay. Rich?
Piastri lost himself the race.
Well, yes.
I'm going to go with Lando home win good, Nico Hulkenberg podium better.
Vibes.
We.
Yeah, let's get right into it. I think seeing the nods of agreement, that's probably a good place to start. I found it quite funny going back and rewatching some of the videos I took at last year's British Grand Prix compared to this year's, and seeing the difference in reaction to the race winner. I don't know if it was just because Hulkenberg got the podium, But there seemed to be a lot less hype for Lando winning the race than I expected. Mel, you were in Lando stand. I don't know what it was like
Was
over
I?
there.
I don't think I was.
Can you just show that corner of your t-shirt, please? No, the t'other side.
Oh.
I'm flipped, remember.
What have you just done?
I always fell because my floor slanted. Oh, you want me to get the badge in? That's what you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, get the badge in.
Yeah, so
No, I would actually agree with you. I think Oscargate, which we will get into, ruined the vibe a little bit. Like, it was there, but I was expecting, like, the grandstand to fucking collapse with hype, and it didn't as much. But Gary and Diva, they were brilliant. More on them later.
who?
So there's this guy. You
Do
must
you
be
not watch TikTok? She posted.
No.
Yeah, did you not see my? Wow, you didn't even see my TikTok. Fuck you then. No, so there's like this. He must be like 60 years old. About the same age as my dad. This guy called Gary. He was like the team leader for the race makers in Lando
Okay.
Stand. He was taking the microphone from the DJ that we had at Lando Stand to wish like marshals and some of the fans like happy birthday and like was singing and stuff. And he was starting like Mexican waves.
Mhm.
And then there's this girl, I still don't know her name, so we just all call her Diva. And she was in the stand that I was in, and she was writing down on her whiteboard when it was going to rain, so we could all get ponchos on. And
That's good.
she was dancing, and she was doing the commentary when all the speakers just stopped working.
Yeah, that was vibes. Those were good moments.
Did that happen
when
to you?
happened.
Because I didn't
Yeah.
know if that was an us thing.
Nah, it was a circuit-wide thing. It kept happening
Yeah.
through the day.
Yeah, it was really bad, wasn't it?
It affected all the formula as well. Like Formula 4 stuff, they set off in the formation lap. It was just silence.
Yeah.
Do you want to speak? Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, that's the only like shit thing. That's why I had Sky on at the same time.
It's just 2 minutes behind. What?
No, but I'd rather have it 2 minutes behind than have no comms. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm impressed that you had good enough internet to have Sky on.
yeah, they put
Personally-
extra masts up around Silverstone, so I had 5G the whole time.
I switched to the
Nice.
4G network to avoid the 5G getting absolutely pummeled, and it struggled to cope with Twitter at times. The minute I tried to upload a video, it was just like, no, I'm going to take 5 minutes to post. Be happy
Yeah.
or not.
Should have just stuck with the 5G.
I may
Yeah,
do that
no.
next year.
It was fine for me, but I don't know. Also, Lando Stand was weird. This is very much a tangent, but also not really. You know how it was sold out?
Yeah.
Until race day, the row in front of me, which there's what, like 15 chairs or something, only had about 5 people in there.
And they also kept giving away tickets.
But yeah, bearing in mind, it's not a roving.
No.
2 people got in there treating it as a roving, and they were cunts anyway. And then they ended up like kind of getting kicked out. But yeah, and then on race day, suddenly like this random American girl appeared out of nowhere. And then like people who were not sat in front of us for the entire weekend were there. And I'm just like, where have you been? How have you spent this much money and not visited here once when I've been here all day, every day?
I never looked at Lando stand tickets because I'll be honest, I'm not on board the Lando hype train.
Mercedes for point.
And
Stuck in AlphaTauri.
Could you buy single day tickets? Because I know you can for every other stand.
No, so it was just 3 and 4 days.
Okay.
Could you
That
still
was
go
my only thought,
around
is did they buy like Sunday
general-
tickets? But
Could you just
Yeah.
go around general admission?
So Friday, we did what I always do with my dad, and so we saw my sister. It was her first Grand Prix. Woo! We sat in Lando stand, saw what the vibes were, got our t-shirts and all that stuff, and then we walked around and went basically through most of the GAs to see what was going on while there were cars on track and whatever. And then for like important sessions, obviously like qualifying and like the feature races, we sat in Lando stand. I forgot where I was at Chapel. I had a lovely nap at Chapel.
Mm. Yeah, that's
Had a
where
good-
I met you, was up at Chapel.
Yeah,
The Chapel
had a
Nappy.
lovely 5-minute nap there. Sun was shining.
The one day we had good weather.
Yeah. Well, we got they always say pack for all 4 seasons.
Yeah.
I would like
And
to stress,
besides,
this is the British Grand Prix.
No, I'm aware. I'm aware.
I would just like to say that if I had one message for Stuart Pringle, it would be put fucking cover over all your grandstands because you are running and hosting the British Grand Prix. Because the problem is then people started, they were even letting people who didn't have Lando stand tickets into the little entrances on each side to get out of cover from the rain. But then it was getting too full and becoming a fire hazard. And at that point I was like, well, even if there is a fire, the torrential downpour is going to put it out anyway.
Mm.
They also gave everyone, we had those signs taped to our seats. Don't know what the point was in that. They all got wet.
And I seen some pictures of it. It didn't make a lot of sense. Like there was no clear design.
I think it was meant to make an LN, and obviously people are stupid, and it didn't work.
Yeah. I
It's
thought they
okay,
were
we
maybe
didn't
going
really
for the
see it
sort
on
of
the
Lando
broadcast.
helmet vibes.
Yeah.
It just
Well,
didn't work.
I know on Sky didn't really show it. F1, like Track TV didn't show it, so I'm not really sure what the point was. I know there was a security issue at one point, that was jokes, after qualifying.
Oh, do tell.
Oh, did you not know? So
No.
they had Max and Bianca, I think it was just those two that were like, yeah, we'll do a meet up outside the Lando stand, and obviously everyone and their aunt, uncle and second cousin turned up, didn't they?
Mm.
And then they were going to do it outside the Hilton.
Mm.
Same thing happened. So
I
instead
did hear about that, yeah, and so they had to open the external gates to try and ease the people flow.
And instead they were given 15 minutes on the stage in the big blue tent, whatever that one's called.
Maiden Vale.
That's the one. They were given like 15 minutes on there because they kept causing security issues. I would also just like to reiterate my point of, can we stop inviting people to F1 that don't know about F1?
Yeah.
Because who in their right minds decides, oh, vintage F1 cars behind rope, must go over said rope and get in F1 car and cause 30 grand worth of damage? Yes.
Mm.
To be fair,
And
though,
someone
it
also
was
stole
only-
a steering
Oh,
wheel
steering
from the
wheel,
classic
yeah.
F1 cars as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
To be fair, they should have had security. I went past a few times and there wasn't security near it any of those times.
Mm.
It's a very expensive thing to not have security at.
I don't know if they maybe just expected people to behave.
Maybe they thought, oh, if we make the drinks so ridiculously expensive,
No
People
one will
won't
buy
drink.
them.
Yeah.
No one will buy them, and then everyone will be sober. But no, because everyone just bought in drinks anyway.
Yeah. I did find it really funny walking in my gate on the Friday. There was just this massive tray underneath the bag search desk full of alcohol.
Well, so the first day, my bag, I'd say, had like a very light search. It was like a four zip backpack, and I had like my camera and all that stuff. And like they just went, yeah, good. And then the second day, it was a little bit more thorough. And then it was actually when we went out to the pop-up shop to go get the monster, and then we had to get searched back in. Bear in mind, even though we'd been gone fucking 5 minutes, and I had to explain to this woman why I had a little like mini cleaning set for my camera. she was very much, she just didn't get it. Like, that's what I said to her. I was like, oh, like, it's a mini cleaning kit for my camera lens. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, what do you mean? What
It's
do I
to
mean?
clean my camera lens.
Yeah. And like, she was sort of
what
like,
it says on the tin.
I had to literally explain every single part of it to her. And I was probably there for a solid 5 minutes before she let me through.
Hmm.
It's very
See, I
annoying.
found it was the opposite. I was up at Gate 9, which was the hospitality entrance, and on the Friday, I got like a proper thorough search. They were taking my cocktail sausages, sausage rolls and stuff out of my bag to look deeper. Saturday and Sunday, they just opened the bag and went, okay.
I
It
think
probably
we got
helped that on the
lucky.
Saturday, I bumped into a fellow Scot who was doing security, and so we got chatting, and then it was like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
And
it
on the
is.
Sunday,
Oh, you
they
got
just
68 cans of iron brie in your
Then
bag.
Inside
I'm going to
job.
confiscate one of those.
Then again, I will
Um,
say the only person that checked the bag thoroughly was a woman. So I don't know whether, like, I don't
Women
know.
just do the job better.
My sister kept getting worried she was going to get pat down, and I was like, "You're a child. They can't do that anyway."
and also, I've never been pat down entering a Formula One track.
No, I have for concerts, but not F1. Like, I'm not being
Yeah.
funny, but I could have. Not that I drink, but like my dad would have liked to have a drink at the track. I could have definitely taken, you know, like the little shooters.
Mm.
Could have literally just gone. What are you gonna do? You could have shoved one
We
up your bum. No one's gonna know.
we had a blanket that we took in, and we didn't look at it.
Yeah,
An
no.
apple sour shot is not worth sticking up your ass.
Well, that's why you don't get salads. You get something else.
No, I
But
don't think there's any shot on
what
planet Earth that's worth sticking up
I
your
don't know if
fucking
you
ass.
had this, Chris, but what I think the only thing that pissed me off about the whole weekend was between getting to the stand and getting to my seat, I had to show my ticket about 4 fucking times.
I didn't have the same issue. I was in an enclosure. On the first couple of days, well, the first day and a half, they were really strict at the entrance of the grandstand to see my actual ticket. But by coming up to qualifying hour and then on the Sunday, I just showed my
Yeah.
wristband and they just let me through.
Yeah, I had the odd time where if I'd literally popped out for 5 minutes to go get like a coffee and
Mm.
I'd came back, then they'd be fine. But like all the stewards were lovely, like all the racemakers were lovely, but it's just annoying. I'm like, okay, yeah, here's my ticket. Yeah, I'm in the correct stand, brilliant.
Yeah.
I walk about 10 steps. Here's my ticket again. Here's my three tickets again. I walk
Yeah.
up like 4 steps. Here's my ticket again. I'm like,
Yeah, I never had that. The only time I had that was on the Friday. I think again it was because I was in an enclosure. And so
yeah,
part of
which is
Beckett's
valid.
grandstand is segregated.
Yeah,
Like, because it's 3-day reserved and the rest is roving. And I
Yeah.
had a racemaker come up to me the very first time we came in and was like, "Could I see your ticket?" And again, my wristband was on show just by the way I was holding my arm. And they seen that, they were, "Oh, you're right,
Yeah.
you're fine. We know you're meant to be here."
I think the other reason they were so on it is because apparently on the Thursday, the like Lando team were giving away some of these T-shirts,
mm,
and they'd changed what happened. There's been a lot of discrepancies apparently with a lot of parts of Silverstone from the weekend,
mm.
and apparently they weren't scanning the tickets of the Thursday, and they did on the Friday. I have all of mine scanned to get our T-shirts and stuff, and they ended up running out. Like, you can buy them on eBay if you want. They'll set you back about 100 quid.
I did see that actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, this year, Silverstone security, not amazing, not terrible.
Thanks for keeping us safe, but also,
Yeah.
yeah.
But just one last note on Silverstone security stuff. The one thing I did find really odd, I don't know if it's because I've been to America quite a few times, when that lightning storm rolled over the track, they were just like, everyone, you can stay in your grandstands. Totally fine. Big metal
Oh.
stands, no issue here.
Yeah,
I was
no,
expecting
exactly the
can you
same.
leave the grandstands, please? But no one gave a fuck.
Yeah, no, I think the problem is because where it's such a big event, or it's what, the second most attended, they had different agencies of companies. They had like whatever. There were blue ones, there were yellow ones, whatever. I know our ones that we had, they weren't given any sort of coats. They were getting soaked from the rain to the point where people in the stand were going and buying them ponchos.
Yeah.
So that they could stay somewhat dry. But no, they weren't. They were making sure it was safe and that underneath wasn't getting crowded when it was just the rain. But when it started with the lightning, they weren't bothered either.
I just found that really odd.
But you know what they say? Do you know what they
What
say?
did they say?
No, they didn't. It's weird. I thought you'd know this. You're old. The chances of getting hit by lightning are very, very small, but it's never done.
Yeah.
They win in the lottery exactly the same.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway, shall we go back to the race so that the other two who weren't there can join the conversation?
Yeah.
rub that
And
in.
you could have gone. Just
Yeah,
but I
Ben,
don't
you were
check
offered
my
a ticket.
emails. I got priority.
You
Fuck's
were
sake.
offered a ticket and you turned it down.
what did you do instead?
I didn't turn it down, Chris. I didn't see the fucking email.
No, I text you. I offered you a ticket.
Yeah.
But then to get 2 tickets was
Yeah,
double
that's
the
fair.
price of what it should have been. So
That's fair.
Well, did you not fancy an Alpine ticket for 40 quid?
no, I ain't going anywhere near them.
You don't have to go near them. They were offering tickets for 40 quid.
Wait, how were
So-
Alpine offering tickets for 40 quid and how can I buy one for next year?
I don't know if they're doing it next year, but Alpine and Viagogo teamed up because they wanted to make F1 more accessible. Something I noticed a lot this year is there were way more shuttle buses. Way more from like Banbury and obviously like shitholes like Coventry. But yeah, they teamed up and they offered it was limited to like just using Viagogo. They were offering like £39 GA tickets. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, so obviously we've talked briefly about the vibes of Nico's podium. Where to go from there?
Just briefly, Nico is no longer the unwanted record holder of the most Grand Prix starts in history without a podium.
He's not. He's given that back to Adrian Sutil.
Yes, and how many Grand Prix starts did he have?
129?
Close, 128. But what team does he also drive for?
Force India.
Sauber.
What the fuck?
He drove for Spiker, Force India, and Sauber. And what was his best result?
Fourth?
Fifth. Oh, fuck.
So we've got
Where was that?
We've got rid of one German driving for Sauber as the unwanted record holder of the most Grand Prix without a podium, and we've given it back to another one.
Well, yes.
Incredible scenes.
Props to Mercedes actually for nipping round to the Sauber garage with tunnels of champagne.
And Aston Martin.
I haven't seen the Aston Martin video, to be fair.
Yeah, Aston did this, pretty much the same thing. We're like, oh shit, you guys don't have bubbly? Have some bubbly.
And then they'll just take it off as a business expense to get it back.
Exactly.
And then they've got a couple more quid in the pocket for the cost cap.
Yeah.
I noticed a lot of people complaining at McLaren on the podium.
I fear that's going to have to be a whole segment in itself because I have words, but not about.
I don't think it's that deep.
Yeah,
I don't think it's the end of the world. It would have been nice, like obviously we've agreed that Lando winning was great. Yeah. Nico getting a podium was better, but you have to remember, in the grand scheme of things, someone's won their home race for the first time.
Yeah.
Like that's always going to be the bigger thing when you generalize it. Both equally as important, but let's just say I'm waiting for Santa to tweet out saying that Oscar Piastri's on the naughty list. because I've got one word to describe him, and it begins with a C
Mm.
Mm,
And
and ends
it's
in
a
unt.
it's a favorite word in his home nation.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
think
if you googled the
he
word and
definitely
clicked
didn't
images, he'd come up.
shower himself in glory.
I think it was the radio message that sort of
Yeah.
nailed it down.
He
I didn't hear it. I could not hear any team radio
The
whatsoever.
radio message went as follows: I don't think the penalty was very fair. If you guys don't think the penalty was fair either, I think we should swap the places and race.
and he said that as soon as whilst he was going wide on the track.
Mm.
Yeah, he went wider.
Yeah, I seen the radio pop up, and then the car sort of cleared me, and I heard circuit commentary being like, "Oh, Oscar saying if the team don't think it's very fair, then swap the position." But I thought the team had went to Oscar, and I was like, "What's going on here?"
No.
I obviously didn't hear the first part. Yeah,
It's not the place to do that. When you get a penalty, you take it on the chin.
Do you know what
And
his
if you want to
argument
protest
was?
it, you do it after.
You know what his argument was? He'd done the same
No,
thing
go.
4 laps earlier. Bro's playing with fire there. You just admitted you did the same shit.
mm.
Stewards could be like, "Oh, okay, let's go have a look at that. I'll have another 10 seconds."
Yeah.
Not that it would have changed the result.
No, but still, that would have
No.
been another
Yeah.
2 points on his license, and that would take
Exactly.
him up to 8. He's currently on 6. Halfway to a race ban.
Mm.
He's turning into a bit of a whiner, and I'm not here for it. It's one of the
I
biggest
don't know.
things. For someone in a
That's
very
just one
prestigious
stoic.
sport, I don't like it.
I feel
Max
like
does it, it's annoying. Lewis did it a lot. It was
I feel like
annoying.
being whiny is a stick we sort of poked Lando Norris with for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it very much felt like I watched some Oscars interviews after the race, and I'm like, I feel like I'm watching Lando Norris when something doesn't go his way. Like, he did not shower himself in glory. And I thought more of Oscar than to see that, to be honest.
Yet here we are.
Yeah.
We need to.
Shall we
I think
discuss
we
his
forget
penalty
that
then?
it's 20 privileged people driving
Mm.
very fast cars who get lots of stuff for free and make lots
Yeah.
of money.
Shall we discuss the penalty?
Yeah, go on. Are you going to read it out, the whole thing?
I can get the document.
Basically,
I read it to my.
face.
I read it-
fucking brakes.
I read it. Sorry, I read it to my dad in the car because we didn't even bother leaving the car park for a good hour after we sat in the car. Because there were
Understandable. Have a
there were
great day.
no car park stewards basically come Sunday after the race.
Yeah.
They also, I don't know, did you walk the track after, Chris?
Yes.
Did you walk all of it that you could?
I walked down Hanger, started heading round Stowe towards Vale, and then noticed a massive metal fence, and so turned back and walked back up Hanger.
Yeah,
and by the time I got back up to the top of Hanger, they decided they were finishing the track walk.
Yeah, because we only waited, I think maybe 10 minutes after they'd opened the gate. So every loony that wanted to run on and grab a sign could do that, and then we could walk a bit more peacefully. And I think we only managed to walk about 2/3 of it, because then they put out the announcement saying, yeah, you need to get off the track. And I was like, now hold on.
I felt that we got more time on the track than last year. And I actually
I felt I had more
commented
time
to my friends that were with me.
ago.
That I noticed a lot of the signs were still in place.
Yes.
And then it's as I turned around and started walking back up Hanger that I noticed some signs coming off the wall. And then the announcement went out saying, we're closing the track walk. So I don't know if they were watching people. And then when they started seeing how it normally goes, they went, right, that's us, we're done.
Well, I saw in between them letting Vale through for the podium and the gates opening for everyone else, we saw a van come through to grab all the cables and stuff and whatnot.
It was the same
but
on that side, yeah.
They were also taking some of the signs that are pushed into the grass.
Yeah. Yeah, the DRS boards came down, as did all the brake markers. They all got taken out by a Formula One van and then driven away before they opened the gates.
Yeah. Why are you trying to swat a fly, by the way? Let it live.
Because it's sat on my ring light and it's pissing me off. It's
Anyway,
literally just sat there rubbing its front hands together, going.
What were we actually talking about?
Oscar's penalty and the
yeah.
document.
So, yes, I was going to the FIA's website. Hold on. I'll return to that quest.
Chris 100% has it bookmarked.
I don't on my laptop. I did have it on. I posted it on Twitter, actually.
I have the notifications on for the
I
Twitter
just
bot.
meant the FIA website.
Okay, here we go. When the clerk of the course had declared that the safety car was coming in that lap and the lights were extinguished, car 81 suddenly braked hard, 59.2 psi of brake pressure, and reduced speed in the middle of the straight between turn 14 and 15, Hanger Straight, from 218 km per hour to 52 km per hour, resulting in car 1 having to take evasive action to avoid a collision. This momentarily resulted in car 1 unavoidably overtaking car 81, a position which he gave back immediately. Article 55.15 of the FIA sporting regulations required car 81 to proceed at a pace which involved no erratic braking, nor any other manoeuvre which is likely to endanger other drivers from the point at which the lights on the safety car are turned off. What car 81 did was clearly a breach of that article. In accordance with the penalty guidelines, we imposed a 10-second penalty to car 81.
I've heard enough. 10-second penalty to Esteban Ocon.
Exactly, yeah. 10 seconds, stop, go, to Esteban Ocon.
It was rightly given. I watched it with my own two eyes.
Conditions.
It was stupid. It's like, you know, in
borderline
Monaco
Mugello.
when Perez tapped on his brake during quali, so that he spun and caused the red flag. It was as obvious as that. I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
The only mitigating circumstance I could think of was the safety car lights went out very late.
They went out later than the previous occasion.
The decision to bring the safety car in was also made very late. So it's not like the team could have said, safety car's coming in this lap, you'll have control from the sector 2 line, blah, blah, blah. Normally they do go out the moment the safety car crosses the sector 2 line and then it just fucks off. They were nearly at Stowe when the lights went out.
But then
in the
Oscar
rain,
still has till the last turn to control the pace.
Yeah. No, that's the only reason I could think of slamming the brakes on that hard was, oh shit, it's me now.
But he admitted he did exactly the same thing 4 laps earlier when the safety car lights went out all the way back where they should have done.
Yeah. That was the only mitigating circumstance I could think of watching it back at the track. But it doesn't excuse going from 214 to 52. Had he slowed down gradually, no issue. That's fine. He's entitled to control the pace.
Yeah.
He didn't accelerate and then brake. That's fine. But doing it the way he did in the wet, no.
Not cool.
In the dry, maybe get away with it. In the wet, not a chance.
So
I'm still not sure in the dry.
Yeah, people were trying to compare it to George Russell's. But I saw a video that like sort of went through it and went through the actual like hard data from each of the cars. Oscar went from over 200 to like 50. George went from like 140 to 80.
Yeah.
Yeah,
not
like
the same thing.
No.
And also applied half the brake pressure.
So yeah, as much as like Red Bull were like, oh, George is trying to like do a thing here. No, nowhere close to Oscar's. And Oscar had the added issue of the amount of spray that was being kicked up because we damn near ended up with another Mugello.
Yeah.
This is going to sound
and Mugello
really...
wasn't even caused by the race leader. Mugello was just a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
It's going to sound bad, but like, if it was a rookie, or just literally, or anyone, it doesn't matter. Anyone who hasn't led a lap under a safety car, I would sort of get it. If they get the same penalty, fair enough, I'd get it. But it is Oscar Piastri, race winner.
Yeah,
Like-
Oscar Piastri, championship
Uh,
leader, race winner,
Yeah.
Formula 2 and Formula 3 championship winner. Like,
And Alpine.
yeah, but even
it's just not on.
No,
even
it,
with rookies doing that, they still go through it through F2 and all. So you should understand. So
yeah, it wasn't like, it's gonna sound so stupid because obviously it's not a safe sport, but it just wasn't safe. I think he's
Yeah.
I don't know what was going through his head at that time. I think he's starting to lose his cool-headedness a bit.
Mm.
Because it felt like he was very good at it, and then there's just been these couple glimpses where it's like a weird rage.
Mm.
Yeah,
But yeah, it wasn't on. I love Oscar Piastri, but no.
that does not get 5 big booms.
And if he doesn't do that, he wins the race.
Yeah,
I don't know if he does. Before they pit, Lando was 1.3 seconds behind him or something.
He wasn't really close. I was watching that gap yo-yo, and it would come in.
it
He'd
would
bring
to
it
and
in
fro,
to about
wouldn't it?
1.2,
Yeah,
and then
And
Oscar would
drop
just
back.
drive away.
but then
But I don't know
I
if
don't
that's...
think he
they'd
would
have
ever
a fight.
catch him on track.
I think because of the conditions, they wouldn't have let them fight.
But given the conditions at the end of the race,
I think they would have.
Once DRS was re-enabled, I think it would have
Yeah.
been more
Mm.
interesting. And I think potentially then we could have seen something. But in the before that, when we actually had the to and froing, I think it was just sort of like, oh, you can go that fast? Okay, I can go that fast.
Yeah.
Oh, you went that fast again? Oh, okay, I'll go that fast again. It was just kind of like, whatever you can do, I can do too.
Yeah, like
Mm.
cat and mouse. Like,
But
oh,
it
I'm gonna go a
was-
bit quicker.
yeah,
Oh, I'm
exactly.
gonna follow.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, it just proved that they're both fast.
Yeah.
It wasn't that
Which
we
either
know.
one was particularly faster than the other, because when Oscar served his penalty and came back out afterwards, the gap didn't measurably close.
No.
It was like maybe a tenth or two every now and then, but like it wasn't like Oscar was chunking like half a second a lap sort of thing. It was
Mm.
Lando had pace, Oscar had pace.
Yeah, they were much of a muchness on the track, to be honest.
Yeah. So
Speaking of pace, a car which was distinctly lacking of it in those conditions, the Ferrari car.
yeah, both the drivers said that that car does not like these conditions.
Yeah.
So,
It's the second wet race we've had, and it's the second time the Ferrari has looked like a bus.
Yeah. A bus that likes to drive through gravel.
Mm.
Yeah.
a bus that wishes it was a rally drive.
Especially Leclerc reopening his lawnmower service
Yeah.
across Beckett's.
Several drivers opened their lawnmowing services today. George Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
George
George
Russell done
Russell
it
decided
best.
to do it in style.
Yeah.
Double pirouette into some
I
lawn
also
mowing.
love the fact that before George Pitt, they came on the radio and said, "We'd like to be smart but not suicidal." To
George
then
is
put
like,
him on
let's
hard
do it.
and then spin around like a yo-yo.
Yeah.
We've said it before. When the track's in mixed conditions, why are you putting drivers on the hards? I think the last time we said it was Leclerc. Everyone else came in mediums, Ferrari. Actually, no, it was Canada. Everyone else came in inters, Ferrari, hards.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
The
was
Ferrari
funny.
strategy
That was
is
funny.
not.
It was the same. I've actually put that in my post-race video that I recorded on the track. I tweeted out from the Turn 5 account when Lewis boxed, masterclass or clown show, time will tell. And then it's only
Clown.
when the race ended and I had a look at the live timing, I could tell it very much was a clown show.
Yeah.
Because they put Lewis on scrubbed softs.
Yes.
They still boxed him too early, I think.
They boxed him
As
too
well.
early and onto scrubbed softs.
Yeah.
In those
That's
conditions, you need fresh tyres. There's no question about it.
Yeah, but then it depends. If they're only fresh tires, like a fresh hard, then you'd rather take the scrub soft.
I don't know.
I think Ferrari I think they
It
forget
depends how much
that
scrub
when the
was
track
on
is
it,
wet, it's no longer
Yeah.
dry. And I
Like,
think they're just forgetting that.
like, were they a set of softs that had literally just done a push lap? Because, like, obviously we had interrupted quali.
Yeah.
Were they a set that had literally done that outlap and then you'd been red flagged and come back in?
Yeah.
I didn't see the tyre history to see exactly how old they were. I just seen the sort of line through the circle. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Everyone else is on fresh tyres. Ferrari, scrub softs. And that's not including the clown show that they had with Leclerc and multiple other teams had at the start of the race. Oh, the track's still absolutely soaking. Slicks.
Yeah,
Did you see the face that George pulled when he told I can't remember who, but he told one of the pundits, Kimmy told one of the pundits that he was starting on
Yeah,
mediums.
he's going to start on the mediums. And George just
and George was like, "Oh, how that ended well."
On the formation lap, I thought sectors 1 and 2 were maybe 3 or 4 laps from having that sort of goat track that you could get away with slicks. But sector 3, Stowe round
Not a
through Club and
chance.
Vale, that was soaked. That was
It was.
ridiculous. There was no way in hell you were getting a set of dries through that.
Yeah.
Not in any kind
yeah.
of like reasonable pace.
No, I would agree with you. Obviously, I was at Beckett's, and you could see a little bit of a dry line coming, but it wasn't there yet.
It was a combination of how dry the actual tarmac looked, and then the combination of that with how much spray was being kicked up. There wasn't too much spray through sectors 1 and 2. Then you head down the straight into Stowe, and it's like, yes, plumes.
Yeah, no. I mean, I was shocked, to be fair, that they still did hot laps about 5 minutes after torrential downpour.
With the Pirelli hot laps, I was like, what?
I was like, huh? I was like, I
Same
don't know,
with the
maybe...
historic F1 cars rolling out. I'm like,
yeah.
You guys have wets?
The best thing was, it didn't start raining by Stowe at one point, but I could tell it was raining more near you because I could see the blue rain light from the other side, and I was like, oh, okay. Hood back up. He'll be here in a minute, guys.
That's what it sort of arrived on the Wellington Straight first. I looked along to my right and just seen the 2 light panels with the rain symbol. I'm like, here we go.
Yeah. I low-key, I love the rain in F1. I think that's sort of the perfect amount where you've got a bit of rain, then you've just got cloudy and cold, and then you've got these dry spells with a bit of sun. I think it just makes a race so much more interesting for everyone because it comes down to which team has got the best strategy, obviously not Ferrari, and then which driver is the most in tune with their car and their like how confident they feel in the wet. But no, it was puddles at Stowe for days, basically.
Just while we're on the rain, Rich, did you watch Formula 3?
Only on the Saturday. I didn't see it on the Sunday. I was asleep.
Did you watch the feature?
Well, I was waiting for the drivers to come in, but every sort of 10 seconds I kept going like this to look at the screen of the main stage. I know they cancelled it, which is quite sad, because...
I was going to go off on a tangent on that. I guess I'm going to do it myself. The length of time it took them to red flag the Formula 3 because of rain was abhorrent. You had drivers spinning under the safety car, going off at every corner, and they just kept going.
Yeah, I don't know.
They managed 12 laps.
And then I thought that they were going to go green because lapped cars started unlapping themselves. Turned out they just decided to do that themselves and have been penalised for it after the race.
Nice.
What's the point in penalising them? They didn't even finish the race. Like...
Points were given.
Yeah, points were awarded.
Sorry.
75% points were awarded.
I'm going for it. You see under the safety car, there is zero visibility whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's like when Hajar crashed into Antonelli. There's just a car that appears. It's
Oh.
like that.
Oh yeah.
That was awful.
Yeah, literally, you blink and you're like,
Oh,
"There's
there's
no
a
car
car.
there. This is cool." And then
Yeah.
a split second later, boom,
Hey, there's his red light.
into Kimmy's bay. Like,
So I think rain
I actually
lights
thought
need
with
to be
how hard
improved.
he hit the barrier, we were maybe going to go red there.
Mm.
yeah,
I was like,
thought that.
has he hit the barrier that hard that it's damaged?
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't have complained at a
I
red
think-
flag.
I think it was the angle of impact that sort of saved the barrier there.
Yeah. I think the fact they went into the solid barrier first as well. I can't remember whether it was concrete or Armco because they've got both. But he's went into that and then hit the Tech Pro.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate one for Hajar. I mean, I kind of feel for him because like, what else can you do?
Yeah, there's nothing he could do there.
Like watching the onboards, it's like there is nothing you can see in front of you, and
Fine. Car.
You're just driving on blind faith that everyone else is going just as quick as you, and unfortunately for him, Kimmy wasn't, and unfortunately for Kimmy, he suffered too much damage. I think he said after the race that basically the whole diffuser was gone.
Yeah, you can see it on the. They showed like the back of the Mercedes. The left side was fine. The right side just gone completely.
Yeah, which especially in these conditions, you need all the downforce you can get. So
exactly.
I'm surprised he managed to muscle it around for as many laps as he did, but I think it was sort of inevitable that he was gonna retire that one.
yeah, it was sad. He's had a couple rough races, hasn't he? But he just needs a break. He needs one good one, then I think he'll be on a good race streak.
Speaking of collisions, there's one I've seen and one I haven't. I've seen the two Haas's deciding to pirouette.
Beautiful.
Class.
I haven't seen the one that Tsunoda got a 10-second time penalty for.
Oh, he just spun Behrman round.
That was
on the way into Larfield.
Yeah, he made he made Behrman pretty much cut that whole section.
Oh, okay. I think I remember seeing Behrman going off, but I don't think I ever seen why. But that
Behrman went off about 42 times.
Yeah.
And yet he still somehow came 10th. Nearly.
So yeah. What else happened that we need to discuss?
Ollie spinning on the way into the pit.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's on Friday.
4
Speaking of red flags and things, that was
dumb.
insane.
So dumb. What the fuck?
What was he doing?
I don't know.
Couldn't tell you. Couldn't see.
I think he braked too hard and locked the rears and then just went.
Yeah, but he pushed harder than he did on the previous go.
Yeah.
He's under red flags this time.
Fully deserved penalty.
Yeah. Absolute insanity. Why?
I think, how many points is he off now? Is it
8.
2?
He is on 8 points total, and half of those were accrued this weekend.
I'm pretty sure his other 4 were for a red flag infringement as well.
Bear with.
Does it bear with you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Ollie Behrman, 2 points. Collision.
Okay, no, they weren't.
2 points. Overtaking under a red flag. FP2 at Monaco. Earlier this year. So 6 of his 8 points were accrued this year.
For red flag infringements.
Yeah. So 2 of his points will drop off on the 2nd of November this year. And that's his Franco Colpinto.
How long do we think Franco's going to last?
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a swap before the next race.
Yeah, I don't think he'll
me
make
too.
Belgium.
I reckon after Spa.
Or if he does make Belgium,
summer break,
he won't see the end of the summer break.
Yeah.
You know, there's people that do like over or under how many bites it takes them to eat something, over or under how many races until Alpine replace him again.
The question
Well,
is,
we've got 2 weeks now, don't we?
who do
So
Alpine replace him with?
Do you want to know the rumor mill?
Yeah, go for
on.
it.
Is Valtteri Bottas?
I have also heard this actually.
It would get him ready for going to Cadillac next year.
I don't want that.
But also, I think Bortoletto runs a risk of not making it past summer
I think he's fine.
because
Bottas
He's scored points. He's outqualified
Yeah.
Nico numerous times. I think his qualifying record's great against Nico this year.
he's just had a few stinkers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it's anywhere near the level of. I don't think Sauber are the type of team to bin off a driver.
No.
I don't think
Also
they
that,
could
yeah.
afford to pay someone off for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And pay for another driver.
Mel, he's
So I
just
think
had a
they're
few
good.
stinkers. Insert picture of Bortoletto's beached Sauber at Silverstone here.
Making Rich do more work. Righty.
Sorry. Don't worry, I'm gonna go through all
I
my
gave him like
slave. 230
photos and videos to choose from. He's got plenty of choice.
Yeah, exactly.
worry.
More work.
Yeah,
to
and
do.
you're making him.
I'm gonna
choose
go through
one
my
certain-
sleigh photos, and I'll just put my best in a separate folder, and then you can choose all the ones that are actually good
Thanks. Appreciate
because
it.
I took my camera, so they're all pretty like.
Cheers, homie.
You're welcome. But I'm very picky with my photos, so they'll probably only be like 30.
That's fine.
It's better than 235.
Yeah.
I didn't bother taking any of Charles going off because, quite frankly, I couldn't get my camera out quick enough.
Fair.
I thought he was going to bin it into the barrier. How he managed to get control and get it back on the track, I couldn't tell you.
Mm.
Pop quiz.
Okay.
How many drivers are at least halfway to a race ban?
6.
Ben?
7. I'll just say 7.
4.
Oh, I win. Yes.
Max
What do I win?
Verstappen is on 9. His next expiry is the end of October.
Oh dear.
Oh.
Ollie Behrman's on 8. We've discussed, is the start of November. Liam Lawson's on 6. His next expiry is the 1st of December. And Oscar Piastri is on 6. Expiry is the 2nd of November.
There's no point giving Liam any more penalty points because he never finishes a race enough to be able to. Like, if you just tell him don't race, that's just save money for VCARB, mate.
So
And Yuki Tsunoda's on 5 as well.
just running through Max's ones. Obviously, he got 3 points for the collision with George at Spain this year. 2 points were for a collision with Oscar at Abu Dhabi. 1 point was for driving unnecessarily slowly on a cool-down lap during qualifying at Qatar. 1 point was for being under the minimum VSC delta time during the Brazilian Grand Prix, and 2 points were for forcing Lando off the track at Mexico. So, yeah, Mexican Grand Prix weekend was when his next points. Got to be pretty careful between now and then, because we've seen it's not impossible to pick up 3 points.
Yeah, it's not impossible to get points in a shit car.
Ask Ollie.
Speaking of points, did we go over the penalty point regulations being released by the FIA?
We didn't. I briefly mentioned the fact that they had released them last week and then said, this is Chris's wheelhouse. He'll do it.
So, yeah, I feel like just while we're on this topic, it's probably a good time to go over it. It was a surprise to see these get dropped, actually.
Yeah.
I can't say I ever expected to have these be in the hands of the public.
It was your Christmas day, Chris, wasn't it?
Oh, I was delated. I was
He
sitting
was
on my
he was like he
break
was
at
foaming
work,
at the
I'm like,
mouth.
aha,
Yeah.
light reading. So I went through it. Well, we can go over them in more detail in a non-race week. One I'd like to focus on,
Brilliant.
because we all called this out. Causing a collision. There was causing a collision, which started with 2 penalty points. recklessly causing a collision, which had 3 penalty points, or deliberately causing a collision, which had 4 penalty points.
The stewards pussied out.
The Spanish GP stewards were incredibly kind.
Yeah.
And we also got an answer to all of our burning questions as why did Lando not get a grid penalty after Canada? It turns out 5-second time penalties cannot be converted to grid drops.
What a win.
Huge W. I will be celebrating.
It's in the footnotes at the end of the document. Yeah, unless you accrue multiple of them, they can't be converted to grid drops. But it didn't say why he didn't get any penalty points. That was left unclear. Anyway, that's that tangent done.
Bring back
Returning
FIA
to Silverstone.
radio.
I'm going to do a tangent of a tangent.
Yes. Okay.
What a segue.
I know.
Oh no.
Previous F1 steward and son of McLaren co-founder Teddy Mayer, Tim Mayer, has announced his candidacy for the
Yes, he
FIA
has.
presidency,
Yes.
accusing Mohammed bin Sulayem of a reign of terror.
Mohammed
hope
bin
he's
Sulayem
right.
has responded by sacking the British representative to the FIA Senate.
Yeah. Don't really understand that one, considering that the British rep was loyal to Mohammed during Mohammed's presidency election. So, yeah. In fairness to Mayer, he said, Mohammed ran on some very good ideas, listening to smaller clubs, promised he'd be a non-executive president, promised transparency, and he delivered on none of that. So,
Sounds like a typical presidency election.
Tim Mayer said, in fact, he's gone completely the opposite direction. We have the illusion of integrity, and what we've seen is wave after wave of statutes changes, which are designed to concentrate power in one office, which is the exact opposite of what he promised when he was running. So, I love the BBC for this. The FIA said the statute changes were voted through by members through the body's democratic process, in quotes. Somebody's not sure about the democracy involved here. Andrew Benson. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard for him to really fight the incumbent person in the office. He's got to get a list of he's got to be able to fill his Senate now in order to prove that he can make this run for presidency.
But equally, I don't think the sport would survive another 5 years of MBS.
I will be shocked if the Austrians don't back Tim.
Yeah.
Given how outspoken the Austrians were before the last round of statute change got voted in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the British, the Austrians, and definitely a few of the other European FIA board members will get behind Tim. It's just if he can get enough.
Yeah.
Going to be the question. And then it's going to be a case of, is MBS going to rig the fucking system?
Well, he's already trying to.
Yes.
So.
Well, I mean, I don't want to sound like, person cry wolf, but the controversial last set of statutes got voted through with 80%, which doesn't sound right for something so controversial. So we'll say
this has been a fantastic episode. So we'll talk about support series next week.
Is it like the Pope?
Just
when
get
they
that
vote a new
Yeah.
president in, are they gonna blow smoke? Are they gonna puff dust from somewhere?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you saw they did
the FIA book.
Because I don't know if you guys saw if they showed it or if it's been on. I think it was on socials, but they did a burnout of Lando's monster car. My sister taps me. I look at her and she goes, "I wonder who the new Pope is."
Okay, that to be fair, Top
That's
banter.
beautiful.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah, she got it. She got it pretty spot on. But
Love that.
But
love
yeah.
that.
Please, no more MBS. Please, Tim, just win.
Yeah.
you want Tim over Carlos Sainz Senior?
Well, Tim's
Carlos
already
Sainz
announced
Sr.
himself.
Did he?
Yeah,
I didn't see this. Is this because everyone was bullying him?
it was about a week or so ago.
Yeah.
He basically said it would distract from his rallying commitments, and do you know what? As someone
enough.
running for an office in motorsport, saying it would take away from your motorsport, I think is actually a decent excuse.
Yeah, citing present circumstances and his rally career.
It's not what he wants to do. He wants to race. I can appreciate that from someone who grew up with my dad, who didn't take promotions at work because that would take him off the front lines of being a paramedic. So he always said he didn't sign up to sit behind a desk. So
Yeah,
fair
valid.
enough.
But yeah, so I can get behind that. Saying I want to race. Okay, cool, no worries.
Because I know people were worried it was going to be a conflict of interest,
mm,
but I know he's good friends with a lot of the drivers, so I'm sure he has more than his fair share of what's going on in people's opinions on certain circumstances.
yeah. The election isn't until I think November, so we'll cover more on this as time goes on, as Tim starts to select his running mates essentially, and we'll see what nonsense MBS comes up with.
Execute all of them.
Execute Order 66.
All right, Darth Sidious.
Back to Silverstone. It feels like about the sixth time I've said that or something this episode.
What can we say? There was news.
Yeah.
There was a lot of...
We haven't went over our prediction results yet.
Oh shit!
I don't even remember doing them.
Right, hang on. Pull my book out because I put it away. Right. It was a mixed result weekend. Obviously, nobody got the perfect podium because who the fuck predicted Nico? This was going to be one of those times where if someone didn't turn up and we jokingly put Hulkenberg on the podium, that would have been absolutely.
In all of the times that we've done someone else's prediction, I don't think we've ever put Hulkenberg on
which is brilliant considering he's never got one.
I think my dad had a bet on for the race, and I think he got a bit of money back because
I saw a TikTok of someone who put a tenner on Hulkenberg to get a podium at 500 to 1, so they got £5.
Nice.
Yes.
I mean, not bad. Also, congrats, Jonathan Wheatley. You've left Red Bull to become a team principal. You've secured a podium with the least likely driver.
Yeah, pretty much.
On the grid walk, Jonathan Wheatley did say that our chances are with the mixed conditions. If we pull off a good strategy here, our drivers have always been good at going forwards. So,
especially into barriers.
It's now 4 races they've outscored Red Bull, which is
Nico
class.
Hulkenberg on his own has outscored Red Bull in the last few races.
And his only trophy he's got
Verstappen in his last few races. Yeah,
he's now 9th, I think, in the championship.
Madness.
Also, just
how is Sauber that high?
Circling back to Oscar Piastri's attitude, didn't like the question he gave Nico in the post-race interview.
Oh, what? How does it feel to have a trophy finally and it be made out of Lego? I personally would be over the moon if I got a Lego trophy.
I mean, yeah, but
I think it's brilliant.
I'd also like a proper one.
Yeah,
you want both.
I kind of wanted them to do exactly what they did with the winner, which was give them the trophy and a Lego replica. Do it for all of them. Why just the winner?
Yeah.
The trophies are always do that.
If I was Nico, I would have just taken my microphone up and I'd say, question for Oscar, how's it feel to be a salty cunt?
Question for Oscar, how does it feel to cost yourself the race win?
Yeah.
I've not seen the clip. I have seen some people on social media saying it was meant to just be like dry humor, but I don't know if it came across that way.
You can't give dry humor for a wet race because when the track is wet, it's no longer dry.
Yeah, you can't give dry
Okay,
humor
well, Buxton.
when you've spent the last hour and a half being a salty bitch.
Fair.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, I've not seen the clip, so
Yeah.
just going by what others have said.
I think it was because a lot of the questions from the past 2 days in press conferences as well have literally, they've either gone to Max from qualifying, because I know Lando and Oscar were like just giving each other thumbs up the whole post interview because they weren't getting any, and then I think it was like somewhat the same. So it could have been, obviously it's a combination of things, but it was actually really sweet when he said that his daughter likes Lego, and then I saw the video that they posted of his daughter watching them on the TV, and then I cried a bit. But do you know why he actually got the podium? Do you know the real reason?
He
The
finished
Ferrari
first.
was a bus?
Because who was in Stakes Garage this weekend?
Kevin
K-Mag.
Magnussen.
Exactly.
Also, what a boy. K-Mag comes to visit and his mate gets the podium. Kevin's going to be invited to every fucking race from now on, you know that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, Rich, predictions. Pole
Yes.
position, did anyone get it?
No.
Cool.
We all, across the board, we picked McLarens. Ben was the only one to stray from the home hero. But nobody got it. So, great work, everyone. As for podiums, you either scored 2 or 6. Ben and Chris, you scored 2. You put Norris and Piastri the wrong way around. Mel, myself, and Sonia scored 6, which means we have a change at the top.
What?
As Sonia goes back into the lead. Sonia is on 43 points. Ben is on 40, and I am on 38. Chris, you're a little further back. You're on 30. Mel has closed the gap to you. She is now on 26.
Which is wild considering this is my first
bothered.
prediction in about 4 weeks. Well, it's like I do it with my fantasy. I just make I make 3 scenes at the start and I just leave them and let them cook.
Yeah, I've done that.
I think I had to change one because of the driver swap. Like Ricky and Liam. So I think that's the only actual sub I've made. Because they were like, otherwise you're just not gonna get any points. And I was like, well, fuck you.
Which is dumb because they used to just swap it for you. I don't even think I've done that because I low-key can't be asked.
Anyway, bold predictions. Chris was the only one to get his. So, and looking
what was it again?
You said at least 2 safety cars.
Yes.
And looking at the list of DNFs, I am gutted that my prediction from Australia finally came true of all 3 full rookies DNFing. God damn it.
Just a few rounds too late.
Yeah. It was just the fact that every rookie except Behrman had DNF'd. And that was the DNFs. It was just the rookies. So, yeah, unfortunate. I said Alex to get his 4th DNF in a row. He did not. And Ben said quad Brit points. Probably would have been on had Behrman not had a 10-place grid penalty. But as it was, Behrman finished 11th. Which I would like to say, I called in last week's episode that he would finish 11th.
I was watching that. Gotten 10th, George Russell would have finished 11th.
Wait a minute, yeah. That's what I'm screwed either way.
Can we segue
what
onto
I found
something
really funny, just on... Behrman was crap this weekend until he got his 10-place grid penalty, and then he cooked.
He'd been alright. He did put some good laps in, and then, just got a 10-place grid penalty and took it personally.
Yeah.
Decided
At one point, I was expecting him to stick it on pole just so he could start P11. Because he was just flying in qualifying.
Yeah, he was. He was rapid, but no. Yeah.
Mel, what were you going to say? Sorry.
I get where they're coming from, but what's everyone's thoughts on all of the social media and everything not including Alex Albon as having a home race?
He chose to race with a Thai license.
Yeah, I'd say
is that the main?
Yeah.
Yeah, he chooses Singapore as his home race.
That's the closest
per
he
se.
gets to his home race. And he
Because
gets
why
massive
is he
love.
not allowed to do an Oscar Piastri and go, oh, I'm a quarter Italian, this is my home race. Oh, Charles Leclerc, you've
We-
adopted me. Monaco's my home race. Like,
We all know that this is Alex's home race, but it's purely because he's selected to.
Circuit commentary did actually mention Alex this weekend when they were going through all the Brits. They were like, oh, we've actually got a fifth on the grid, Alex Albon, but he races under a Thai license.
Officially a British Thai driver, but no, he races under a Thai license. So
because like,
he is
what,
officially
like if I was an F1 driver, I don't know what fucking flag I'd put. Like, you know, when you fill in any form for something and it goes, what are you? I always get stressed because I never know what to put.
It's like when you're at the airport and at airside, you're a terrorist. It's like, fuck. Yes
Yeah.
or no?
I'm sat
Oh.
there and I can hear the minimal beeping,
I'm
and
sat
then I'm
there,
like,
I can hear the clock ticking in my bag.
yeah, yeah. I can hear my vest
Wishing I
beeping.
put some fucking cotton wool over it to dampen it down a bit.
I don't know what I'd put. I just think like, I don't know if F1 can go through the effort of, obviously it's not that much effort. I study media for Christ's sake, of changing Oscar's name from in Monaco to be Oscar Leclerc. You can include someone who is very clearly identifying as a British Thai
Or
driver.
changing Max to Franz
in-
Herman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to include Alex. Like, it's quite an important thing. The only reason he raced under the British flag before was because he wasn't allowed.
Sebastian Montoya. On his halo, he races with a split flag. It's half American.
That's cool.
And half Colombian. I want to say it.
Yeah.
Because
If that's
obviously
where-
he's American, but his dad.
Juan Pablo.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he
so
has
Colombian.
he has a, because obviously, you know, they all have the name and the flag.
Yes.
His is a diagonally split American Colombian flag.
Maybe Williams don't have the budget for that.
Yeah, or maybe
Because we know
just
they
F1
like
just
shaving
asked.
some of the they
Paint
like
off.
shaving some of the paint off.
Yeah, pick one flag, kid. But
Yeah.
no, I mean, it would be nice because in this day and age, we've got quite a lot of drivers that have multiple nationalities behind them.
Yeah.
Obviously,
I just think representation is very, very important.
But also, I mean, if you choose to represent something, then that's fine. You know, Alex has chosen
Yeah.
to represent Thailand, and that's fine. Lando had, I believe he had the option of running Belgium's flag if he chose
Yeah.
to, due to his mother's.
Or Somerset, I
nationality.
guess,
I
if
think
you
Max
really
would
wanted
have had
to.
the choice as well.
Yeah. But you know, they make the conscious decision to obviously you
Yeah.
can only race under one license, really.
Mm.
So yeah, they make that decision. And that's
I
okay.
think the only difference maybe between Montoya and like Alex Albon, for instance, is obviously Formula One being the World Championship.
Yeah.
It might be a
I
bit
think that's
tighter on. It displays what flag you race under because that's the national anthem that would be played and everything.
Yeah.
Sebastian Montoya wins. We now have to play 3 national anthems.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the remix.
Yeah, just crossfade into
Class.
it.
Yeah.
Star Spangled Banner into the Colombian national anthem.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's just maybe a little stricter in Formula One with flag protocol and stuff.
Probably.
I'll tell you what, hearing the Italian national anthem, that was fun. Love
It
the
was.
Italian national
Yeah.
anthem. Me and my sister were just stood there going,
Why did he win? Ruined
We'll
it.
talk about him next week, though.
He ruined
Next week.
it. What a dickhead.
It was
Yeah,
only a sprint
Before we
race,
move
so
on to
Don't
Lap
care.
Down Showdown.
Yeah.
Oh, Ben, what were you going to say?
I just
Ben-
said
Ben's
it was,
trying to
was only
justify
a
it.
sprint race. I'm still trying to justify the fact that it wasn't a feature. So
Yeah, before we move on to Lap Down Showdown, Mel, you were saying, oh, nationality, you always struggle what to put. I don't know if it's just me. I always find it really easy. I go to S and see if Scottish is
Yeah.
there. And if it isn't, I begrudgingly go to U.
to be fair, Chris, I think if you were a professional racing driver, we'd all agree that you could run under the Scottish flag.
Exactly. That's what I run under on F1 25. Because that
Yeah,
gives
Colin
you the
McRae.
option.
Colin
You
McRae
are-
can run under the United Kingdom flag.
I mean, you are a white male. I don't know if anyone's realised, but there is like an odd one out here.
Is there?
Right.
I don't.
Yeah. I don't know. No, you're just sunburnt, darling.
Oh fuck.
My dad turned into a squashy. He got it bad. I might see if you can find a picture, and then Rich, you can do a bit of you can do a bit of comparison. Is it like a zoom in? Is it a squashy,
Squashy
or is it my dad?
Yeah, no, I've got plenty of those from previous on my own self. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
white
But,
boy problems.
I do that.
Shall we do lap down, showdown?
Yes, I won
It was
this week.
It was Sonoda on lap 45.
Incorrect. I went and reviewed the
Wrong.
footage. Lap 43.
Was it lap 44? Or 43, okay.
43. He came into pit and got lapped while he was in the pits. But obviously, with the start-finish line being so close to the pit entry, he was definitely clear of the start-finish line. So it was 43.
I blame the circuit timing boards for not updating.
Yeah, I mean, I only noticed it really.
That was
I
the first
noticed
time I
it
seen plus
being
one lap.
down. And then you put it in as 45. I was like, nah, it's been up for at least a lap. So I knew I had to go back and find it. But when the actual race is on, you can't rewind the live timing.
Yeah, no.
But when it's finished, you can go back and scroll through it. So yeah. Yeah, so Sonoda 43, 1 lap down. I got the correct driver and the correct number of laps down. Ben, you were closest to the lap count. You said 41.
Yeah, that's what I was going for anyway. So
Yeah.
I don't worry about the driver. It's the number that counts.
Have we got any other news?
No, we've got a week off.
Hog.
2 weeks off.
2 weeks off.
Yeah.
So next week will be support series and F1 the movie.
Wow.
Um,
Can I show off something about F1 the movie?
Yeah.
Goblin.
Does it contain spoilers?
No. Can you?
Well, have you still not seen it, Ben?
Box.
Yeah, no, I watched it
My
Friday night.
vinyl box, my F1 one.
I might have to.
Ben, you need to.
again to sort of
I might have to
My-
rewatch it to remember what happens. But
Good old cinema card coming in clutch here.
Can I have the other one?
I've already watched it twice, so
I've seen it once. I won't be going to see it again.
I
Not
need
that I
to go
paid the
and-
first time.
I need to go and see 28 weeks, 28 years later before it leaves the cinema.
Oh,
I
you
haven't
mean
watched-
28 inches later?
I've heard. I'm holding fire. on that.
massive slong.
F1, the album, did a collaboration
yes.
with
Oh,
Bad
here we go.
World. What do you mean, here we go?
We've seen the image. Well, the
yeah,
video.
we've seen it.
It is funky.
It does look pretty cool.
Just a shame that the album is so mid.
Yeah.
I know, but the vinyl.
It's a shame the music they play, but other than that, it's cool.
Yeah.
Well,
The cinematic version of the album is better
yes.
because Hans Zimmer's soundtrack is amazing.
Hans Zimmer is amazing. Period. He has got
Yeah.
one of the best movie scores, like catalogs of all time.
He's such a diva.
Yeah, but like, why don't you want to listen to Ed Sheeran?
Because it's Ed Sheeran and he
I
supports
just-
Ipswich.
They
I
actually
don't know.
played it on Sunday after the race.
Yes, they did. There was a lot of hype for the songs in it. Like, don't get me wrong, that the album is pretty stacked with artists, but actually utilizing the songs in the movie wasn't very well done. And then it's annoying because you've got all the Tate McRae stands going, "Oh yeah, we went to go see it because we wanted to hear her song in the movie," which also defeats the point. And it's in the movie for literally 20 seconds
I
of
didn't
a
even fucking
club-
hear it.
club scene, so you
It
can't
was-
hear it anyway.
When they're
Oh,
in
it
the
was
club
in
and they're-
Vegas. I really
Yeah.
wasn't paying that much attention to that point.
Yeah, and then they're all on
But can
Twitter.
you introduce
so-
me to Carlos Sainz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just go and
Did
get
you
him before he
see-
proceeds to leave.
Speaking of Nico Hulkenberg, did you see the video on the lead up to Silverstone? And it's him. It's like, "Oh, are you an F1 driver? Yeah. Who do you drive for? I drive for Kick Sauber. Can you introduce me to Carlos Sainz?"
Yeah.
Ends.
My favorite thing is Dextero tweeting about the F1. Because tell me why when I open my Twitter after the race, I see Twitch streamer Lando Norris wins British Grand Prix. And then they only tweeted about Nico because it's Kick.
Mm. But yeah, we'll talk more about F1, the movie,
I
and
think
its soundtrack and stuff.
the
next
album really missed out on Will I Am.
Yeah, exactly. Why was there no Will I Am in my F1 movie?
Yeah.
Very glad I wasn't.
Considering, didn't he open for one of the races?
No,
that
two.
wasn't a fever dream.
Two, actually.
Two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will I Am has released 2 F1 inspired songs, and I don't know either of them.
You know one, surely.
What one was that?
It literally has like one sentence throughout the whole fucking song.
Sing it for us, Ben. Give us a rendition.
I ain't doing that though.
I need to see this now.
I ain't doing karaoke to the Will I Am song.
Can we all meet up just to do F1 karaoke? So it's actually just
let's-
us playing
Yeah,
our
I'll do the
favourite clips
chain.
and doing.
We'll do a round at the F1 arcade, and then we'll go find the nearest karaoke bar.
Yeah.
Speaking of F1 arcade, actually, just briefly, that's how I kicked off the weekend.
Did you like it?
I did. Yeah. Me and the friends went to F1 arcade Birmingham, and then to see the F1 movie. And it's up. It's as good as London, to be fair. The food was
I think my
excellent,
favourite
and
thing
the
was
sim
you
racing was
saying,
equally as fun.
why is it so difficult to get into Birmingham? And then Ben going, normally it's difficult to get out.
Getting out of Birmingham was also difficult because there was lots
Because
of
everyone was trying to do the
roadworks.
same.
Yeah.
I will say, do not go to an F1 watch party at the Birmingham one, because there's just so many people that everyone is on the sims all the time. So if you don't get there early enough, you are not getting on a sim.
Why would I want to be on a sim when the race is on?
Or every fucker in there wanted to be on a sim when the race was on.
Get your priorities
That's a
straight.
bit odd.
I know.
You get there in advance, do your sim racing, and then watch the race.
Yeah, you get there in advance, you do a sim race, and then you get there early enough that you've finished your sim race and can get a seat with one of the fucking hit boxes. You know? Like
I don't know if they're in London. You need to buy a specific ticket for those. I don't know if it's the same in Birmingham.
I went on a non-race day, so they were just on replaying
Yeah.
Abu Dhabi 2021.
Oh,
God, Jesus.
So I'm watching the Will I
Oh,
Am
God.
official music video. It's so bad. This guy has so much money, and it's just a green screen video.
the only twice I've been, again, it was on times that they weren't on, but they were both replaying Australia 2022.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's rogue.
Chances of that. Just one race.
So
I mean, to be
many-
fair,
So many
Actually, that
races
wasn't
to
what it was,
choose
like 4
from,
races later.
and it was Australia 2022.
I might have to just try and get a job there and just keep showing Canada 2011. Just on repeat.
Can you pick
You're
another race?
silly.
Sure, Canada 2011.
Yeah, sure. Japan 2011. Hungary 2012.
Britain 2012, the year of the exploding tyre.
No.
That's a painful one.
Oh, okay.
Australia 2009.
And then the following 5 races as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, that wraps up this week's episode of the Turn 5 podcast. Join us next week for more incessant rambling, where hopefully you guys will have reminded yourselves of the support categories for
Yeah,
I've
Silverstone.
actually got to watch the feature
I
races
thought you were
first.
about to say the F1 movie. I was like, yeah, hopefully.
And we will also discuss the cinematic masterpiece that is the F1 movie.
God, just say cinematic.
I was going to say, let's not call something that fails the Bechdel test a cinematic masterpiece, shall we?
But until then, we shall see you next week. Ta-ra for now.